Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show, an online community where we put a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, then connect them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do. When we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and support local businesses, it strengthens the local economy. For information on the show, links to discounts, promos, past interviews, visit www.tcconnector.com. So Americans love to shop, and having what we want at our fingertips has rarely been a problem. However, the pandemic changed all of that and threw a monkey wrench into the supply chain. And thankfully, that's eased up. But it showed us the importance of logistics and the delicate balance between supply and demand. Joining me in the studio today is KCarlton, and she is the founder of KCarlton International, and she helps her clients with customs brokerage, freight forwarding, importing and exporting services for a wide variety of industries globally. And she's here to share the latest of what's happening and trends that she's following. So welcome to the show, Kathy.
Hi, Ellen. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you're here. And before we dive into KCarlton International and what you do as a company, what made you want to get into the industry and start your own business?
You know, I'm not sure if anyone wants to get in this business. I think it's one of those businesses that you just kind of fall into. When I talk to other colleagues in the business, we ask that question quite often. They say, well, it's just a happenstance. So in my case, I was working for a temp company, mm-hmm. and my first job was at a peanut manufacturing company in Panama City Beach. And so I worked there, and when I was there, I met a gentleman who was opening an office in Panama City from New York, and it was a freight forwarding firm. And so I was there. He hired me right away, and I was there to set up the office. We were waiting for the Miami lady from the Miami office to manage the office. So when she got up there, she trained me, and the second I got in the business, the second I loved it. I loved worldwide geography. I loved the thought of moving cargo around the world, and everything that happens can go wrong and does every day, and mm-hmm. no 2 days the same. And I love that. I mean, I'm learning as much now as I did back then. I love it as much. I'm learning every day. It's an industry that you can never learn the most. Mm-hmm. So when I left there, I moved to South Florida, and I worked in the big ports, Miami, Port Everglades, and I worked my way up to branch manager. In 20 years, I worked my way up to branch managers for several different companies. And then 9/11 hit. And when 9/11 hit, I lost my job. I had a new family, new baby, and failure was not an option. So I started my company in my garage, and I had the best customers at the time. I still do, actually, still have them. And they helped me. You know, they gave me the business without any question about whether or not I was going to make it or not. So they helped me. And together we grew, and now the company is 21 years old, and it's out of its teenage years now. And so now my children work in the business, and
mm-hmm. And you have a star team, don't you?
I do. I have the best team ever. Yeah. They're the best in the business, mm-hmm. and I appreciate them very much.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. And so now, like you were saying, you have been in the business for a long time, but KCarlton has been around for like over 20 years now. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What has been the biggest impact that you have seen on how raw materials and finished goods are moved all around the world?
Well, things have changed, since I started. I started in the early 80s when containerization had just started. Mm-hmm. So, I remember Port Everglades was one of the first ports to have the gantry crane cranes.
Okay.
And then now all the ports have them. But that was the mechanism that allowed the containers to be lifted off the ground and into the ships, and they stacked on the ships. That revolutionized shipping. That allowed us to stuff lots of goods in these containers. Prior to that, it was break bulk. You can only loose cargo. You can only put loose cargo on a ship. So you can imagine how horrible. That was before my time, but I imagine it was pretty bad. But yeah, containerization made things really easy. Technology helped a lot. Obviously, when I started, we communicated via the telex machine, and then we moved on to the fax machine, and now the email, which we just is astonishing there. And then globalization. Globalization expanded supply chain. And we're involved in a network of international agents like ourselves that allow us to move cargo from point A to point B. So we move it from here, and they receive it from there and deliver to the customer, and vice versa on imports. So we're like FedEx, just a few more moving parts in our company with the companies we work with to get things moved.
Yes, and that's an excellent segue into my next question, because with the internet, we have information at our fingertips, and we can learn to do a lot of things ourselves. It doesn't always mean that we should, right? But it is helpful. So, for example, somebody might learn how to change their oil in their car, but they're not going to change their transmission. They're going to take it to a mechanic. And what I have found fascinating by digging and doing some research into your industry is that sometimes people think that they could do importing and exporting as a business owner. They just, try to do it themselves. When they're small and starting up, they think that they're too small to work with a company like you. And I think that that's to their detriment, because there's a lot of moving parts it's one thing to ship something, within the United States.
Exactly.
But across borders, it's a whole other.
Oh, yeah.
So explain that process a little bit.
Yeah, well, our clients are U.S. exporters, manufacturers who sell their product nationally, and they want to expand their business, so they ship international. Well, they don't know the parties to go to, so they would use a company like us that would arrange to have it picked up and put on a ship or airplane and sent overseas. And then we have an agent on the other side that receives it and delivers to the client. And the same thing in regards to an import. If somebody has a product that they've developed and they have it manufactured in another country, we do the import of it. So we handle everything from the point of origin. We arrange to have it picked up, put on a ship or aircraft, brought it in, clear it through customs, and deliver to their door. The process is so extreme. There's no way any regular person could do all of it. Yeah. There's too many people involved in the whole process.
Yeah,
for that to happen.
One little thing that isn't properly filled out on a form, or if a form is missing, then that just messes up everything. And to your credit, you actually have licensed customs brokers, and not all companies do, but you do.
Yeah, well, you need at least one if you're going to do customs, but we actually have 3 on staff and one in the works, one that's studying right now. Yes. I call her my rock star.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Is that Michaela? Can I take a guess? No, it's not Michaela.
No, okay. Although I love her.
Yeah.
No, she knows who she is.
Yeah, okay, very cool.
But the rest of the stuff is great, so I don't want them to think that it's just her, but she is great.
I'm getting to know the different people on
I'm
your
excited.
team.
I'm excited. The test is very difficult to take.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for any of them to take it and pass it. And it just strengthens their knowledge and their net worth, you know, for sure.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that in terms of, our young kids today, the youth of today. We're going to get into that in the second half. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I don't want to start a question and then interrupt. We're going to go a minute early on our commercial break. Cindy loves when I'm early.
Oh, great.
I'm always behind schedule. So stay tuned, because KCarlton of KCarlton International and I have a lot more to discuss. We'll be right back.
Waves Auto Spa, known as Vero's fastest and finest. A car wash known for their quality equipment and attention to detail by a friendly and courteous staff. Waves offers soft cloth technology, and a top-notch detail center will help preserve the value of your car. Waves now offers windshield chip repair, and in most cases, it doesn't cost you a dime. Spend less time and get a better quality experience for you and your car at Waves Auto Spa, US 1 Vero Beach, across from Kmart Plaza. Open 7 days a week.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. We're having a summer sale with lots of great markdowns, including all in-stock Lloyd Flanders 25% off. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day. Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Ooh, have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture.
Revive Vero Beach, located next to Anytime Fitness on Oslo Road and 27th Avenue, has everything you need to look and feel your best, including hormone replacement therapy, stem cell therapy, sexual wellness, weight loss, laser aesthetics, hair, tattoo, and skin spot removal, Botox and fillers, cryotherapy, comprehensive blood work, and everybody's favorite, ozone and IV therapy. Refresh, renew, and revitalize yourself at Revive today. Call 772-492-6607. A member of the iTex trading community. Your iTex dollars are welcome.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been chatting with KCarlton of KCarlton International, and they move finished goods and raw materials worldwide, importing, exporting, freight forwarding, customs brokerage. It's complex, but you get it done.
Yes.
And in the intro, I mentioned the pandemic caused, worldwide chaos in the supply chain.
Yes.
And we were so used to having whatever we wanted whenever, and then all of a sudden that didn't happen, and we don't like that.
No.
So we're glad that that is behind us. But your tagline is ship with confidence. And you and your team had to just really go through a lot of challenges. So take us through some of that, because it really sets you apart.
It's interesting when you say, I was thinking when you were asking that question, where did that come from? So a marketing company I was working with back when I first started, I was branding myself, and they asked me, why do people use you? Why do people use KCarlton? And I said, they use me because I say what I'm going to do. I do what I say I'm going to do. And they have and he goes, do they have confidence? I said, absolutely. If I tell you I'm going to do it, I do it. If I can't do it, I tell you I can't do it, and why and when I will do it. So there's complete communication. There's complete transparency, amazing customer service. I'm committed to my customers. I realize that the customers are our bread and butter, and that's what we take care of. So Ship with Confidence came up with that. It's like, yeah, absolutely. And so the staff along all the years, they live into that, and that's where the superior customer service comes from, because you can have confidence to ship with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, but the past couple of years when containers were backed up and everything was a mess, were there a couple of instances that, you were able to kind of like save the day on things?
Let me tell you, that was a very, very, very difficult time in logistics. Yeah. I have never been in that situation in my entire life. And quite honestly, I have to admit, for the first time in my life, I had to tell a customer I couldn't do it. There was nothing I could do. Mm-hmm. If the ships weren't loading the cargo, there was too much cargo and not enough ships. Mm-hmm. So, to explain to customers, especially regular customers, but even the big guys, even the Walmarts and the Kmarts and the Home Depots, they were not able to get their stuff on ships. There was too much product. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of it. So, so I couldn't do anything, but I can tell you one thing, my staff excelled at that. Mm-hmm. They worked tirelessly, hour after hour, more hours to do one shipment than it used to, and never raised the prices on that in the beginning. It was really, they did an amazing job.
Well, that's really good. So now when it comes to shipping things you're doing it by air, land, sea. Now that can you believe that we're halfway through 2023? Because I can't. But what are you seeing in terms of trends for the different shipping modalities or methods?
Well, I'm glad to see that we're finally getting back to normal, because it's not, you cannot stop international shipping. It's a mechanism that has to move. And this is what happens when you do. And it was tragic. It was drastic. So I'm so glad that that's over. But online shopping has increased the demand for efficiency. So there's a lot of initiatives that are wrapped around that.
Mm-hmm.
Green logistics, it's environmentally sustainability, and that's a concern. Artificial intelligence will prove to be quite important for us with route optimization and warehouse equipment management. So it'll bring more efficiency and lower costs. We'll see how that goes. I know there's a little bit of a concern for that, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah. I think with any major technology, there's always a lot of apprehension.
Yes.
And when something is implemented right away, we see really wonderful things, but we also see some things that are buggy or that need to be tweaked or things that are not good.
Yeah.
And then if we can just manage to stay on top of those things, I think that a lot of people that are uneasy about AI, they'll feel better about that.
Yeah.
But I do think...
Right. It's with any technology that came before us.
Yeah.
We'll learn to live with it, and we'll work with it, and it'll be fine, I think.
And you as a company are always staying on top of these things and embracing the newest and the latest.
Absolutely.
Because you were at a trade show not too long ago on the other side of the world.
Yes.
Where you had to speak about some software that you were implementing for your...
Yeah, we do an annual international conference where we meet with all of our like-minded agents that we do business with. And then in the once a year, we meet with our national peers, and we meet with the regulatory agencies, Customs and Federal Maritime Commission and other agencies, and we get taught what the newest things are going on, and for us to keep up with what's happening and how to serve our customers.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Now, you, like I said earlier, you move raw material because we need to get the raw material so the manufacturers can make things. And then you're shipping finished goods. But you are known for shipping some very unique, exotic, delicate things. There's a lot of different industries that you cover. So what are some of those industries?
So we're heavily in the marine industry. We do yachts. We're involved in the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. We have quite a lot of customers that are there. One of the things that we did at the last boat show is the largest boat that was in the largest yacht that was there was called the Boardwalk, I believe. And we did all the interior decoration of the boat. So when it showed at the boat, everything that was in the boat would come from where we shipped it. And we do a lot of automotive. We do high-end Ferraris, Bugattis, Mercedes by air. So we're heavily into that. And machinery, furniture, home goods, things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Abe, I think, has a thing for cars.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, he does. And so does Michaela.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
And so, so that's something that I think that, and you will ship literally just one Bugatti if necessary. Is that correct? So somebody who is maybe an exotic collector of cars, and I'm talking about the Jay Leno types that have like 50, 60 cars or more.
Yes.
You work with people like that.
Yes, we do. Yes. We worked with the Bugatti for about 5 years. He had a place in Miami Beach and a place in Cannes, France. So we would ship it every 6 months back and forth by air.
And then yachts as well.
And yachts as well.
The yachts get shipped on a ship.
They do.
I think that was very fascinating.
Yes. To me too. Yes.
That's really cool. And okay, so now when you were talking about like the different associations, and I always have to look at my notes for this because Nick Rowe, he handles your exports. Now he's a board member now, which is wonderful. So he's a membership co-chair for the Florida Customs Brokers and Forwarders Association. And that's something that's important to you as a company, is to get involved in a lot of these trade associations. So, and you're involved in a few things.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on the board of directors in the 90s, and we were on an all-women board. Mm-hmm. So that was the first time that happened in a Miami-based men's
Interesting.
world. Yeah, that was quite nice. And Maria, our manager, she was on the board with me. Mm-hmm. So that was fun. But yeah, I've always been involved with the Florida Custom Brokers and the National Custom Brokers because I want to know what's going on so that I can let my customers know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's wonderful. And then, of course, we were talking in the first half. But you know what I just realized? We've been chatting, and I know I can hear it. I don't have an earpiece, but I just know what's happening. People are saying, because we have a lot of manufacturing here on the Treasure Coast. You're based in Fort Lauderdale, but you're opening up a sales office here so that you can work, in a greater area. And we have so much going on here. People are wondering, how do they get in touch? The people that are watching this on live stream see your information, but what's your website and your phone number?
Our website is www.KCarlton.com. Our number is 954-792-6505.
Mm-hmm, very good. And KCarlton, so it's K as in Kathy, and then Carlton, CARLTON.com.
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And again, in the first half, we were talking about our young kids with career paths and how you said you kind of fell into this. And here we have a lot of institutions that are helping kids try to figure out the next steps after high school or college or a trade school. So you say that this is a wonderful industry to get involved in, and you don't necessarily need a college degree?
You do not. There are some courses that you can take, but most of it is on-the-job training. And what's nice about this industry is that there's so many different facets. Mm-hmm. So there's export or import, there's air, there's ocean, there's truck, there's compliance, there's movement of the freight. So there's so much. I'm always learning. So I'm still learning things today. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what I like. And that's what's challenging for kids. But it's not that difficult. We always say in this business, it's not rocket science. It's more to do with your problem solving abilities than anything, because everything that could happen does. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be prepared to fix it, to problem solve. So I think the young folk would. And when I first started, there was no college degrees for this. Yeah. So I know they have some now. But
for logistics and and things like that.
Right. But it's an industry that most people didn't know anything about before the pandemic. I would say I was in logistics. They were like, "What? What do you do?" They didn't know, but now everybody knows because they went through not having their refrigerators delivered on time.
Yes. Oh, that is not fun. 2 minutes. Oh my goodness, the show goes by so fast. So now, in addition to giving back, there's two ways that you are giving back to the community, and that is through SCORE, and it's also about being a kidney donor. These are two areas that are very passionate. Yes. So go into a little bit.
So SCORE is a division of the Small Business Administration, and they've helped me greatly in the years that I have had my own business. So now I'm in a position where I've stepped back quite a bit, and I want to give back, and so I want to help small businesses. My passion is women-owned businesses. I work with men, but I prefer, to help the women along. Mm-hmm. And I'm a living kidney donor. Wow. I gave one of my kidneys to a family member. And most people don't know you have two and you only need one. And there's a long list of people who need kidneys. Mm-hmm. And if you are inclined to donate something, if you don't have money and you want to donate something, a kidney does save a life.
Okay.
So thank you for letting me say that.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. So now we have to wrap up the show already. I can't believe it. But you can come back another time because I think we can dive into certain things even deeper if you would like.
Yes.
Okay.
I would love that.
Wonderful. So for everyone that is watching and listening, my name is Ellen Contreras, Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host of the show, and I hope that everyone has a safe, wonderful, productive week. And until next week, I miss you already.